There is a cult out there which is killing us. You, me, everybody. A cult that is blindly following a man called Frederick Taylor. What? You never heard of him? Well, get out your pitchforks and your torches, because after I tell you about what this guy's done, we're going to go storm the castle. I am Rick, and did you know that way back in the Industrial Revolution days, they almost had it better than we do now, work-wise? Well, that was until the devil himself showed up and changed everything. Okay, that sounds a little ominous, doesn't it? Well, let me be very specific about what the problem is. The problem is this cult of working your fingers to the bone, all in the name of... I am only sleeping 2 hours a night, and I am still behind. I guess I gotta work harder. But here's the thing, it wasn't always that way. And there is indeed somebody that you can blame for all of this hardship, for the fact that you're probably still sitting at the office doing the work of 3 people, and his name was Frederick Taylor. Old Frederick worked in the Bethlehem Steelworks way back in the late 1800s, and he actually used a stopwatch and a slide rule to work out exactly how long every single task should take, right down to the fraction of a second. For the system, not for humans. Doesn't this just sound like the tale of every American business, Inc., where the C-suite overlords are telling you, well, you just have to do the work of several people. I know we had to lay them off. We couldn't do our job, so get busy over there. There's plenty of time. You just need to be more efficient and productive. Now, back in the day, old Frederick's ideas, well, they weren't very widely accepted, even though his book was published and read around the world. See, back at Bethlehem Steelworks, where he used to work, he once taught this worker how to move 4 times more pig iron than the next average worker, and that sort of made everyone else kind of unhappy, and in fact, they all quit, complaining of fatigue and overwork. Does any of this sound familiar with where you are now? Now, old Fred, he apparently was a very difficult man to get along with, and his superiors actually fired him back in 1901. It was very sad. Well, maybe not. Now, even though he faded out into relative obscurity back in his day, his ideas of schedule first, people second, well, they left an indelible stain on the American business mindset. And it wasn't just in the workplace either. On a documentary on Taylorism back in the 1990s, a producer once said that Taylor might have actually had the last laugh because his ideas on productivity, they've not just changed the workplace, they've changed everything we do in everyday life. I truly hate Frederick Taylor. Okay, let me be extremely clear right now. Hustle culture, it's not good for you. It's unhealthy. And I'm sorry, Casey Neistat, but your tattoos with work more, work harder, there is a better way. In Spain, they have a custom called the siesta, and it is not what you think it is. I mean, yeah, some people take the afternoon off and take a multi-hour nap, but it is actually so much more than that. Now, around 1 or 2 o'clock every afternoon, most businesses just shut down, or they greatly reduce what it is that they provide. Now, a lot of workers, well, some of them do go home and sleep, I'll give you that. Most people just take it easy. They go run some errands. They get together with other folks. They may have a few adult beverages. The siesta is less about sleep, and it's more about a healthier pace of life. And then in the late afternoon, early evening, things open back up. And the people, well, they're not beaten down to a pulp. Instead of having to guzzle, I don't know how many gallons of coffee to get through the afternoon slump, they're actually rested. Now, the sad part is, in many parts of Spain, the siesta is fading away. It's giving away to a more American lifestyle because people think that's the path to wealth and power. So instead of having a nice, well-rested afternoon, well, they just basically get ulcers and have to gobble Xanax before they take a vacation. Oh, that's right. We don't take vacations in the States. Now, proponents of hustle culture will tell you that by working harder and trying to achieve more, that you will reach brand new heights of success in both your work and your personal life. And they'll also tell you by having that never give up mentality that you will reach all new levels of motivation and productivity. Finally, they state by working your fingers to the bone that you're going to reach all new levels of creativity, because by pushing yourself to the absolute limits, well, then you have to come up with creative new ways of, doing something in the world. And now here are 4 things that the work more culture is probably going to do to you. Number 1, burnout. Now here's a fun one. Maybe you say to yourself, I would really love to feel either nothing. I would love to just go to sleep so I don't have to deal with everything, or perhaps I'll spend all my waking hours looking for an escape hatch. Burnout is for you. Okay, personal story time. I burnt out. I completely burned out from working, my fingers to the bone for several years and having no escape hatch. And that is the problem with this whole condition, is you're constantly looking for a way of offsetting what it is that's driving you crazy. You can only hustle, go before you let off steam somewhere else. else. And if you have nowhere to let off steam, or if you push yourself too hard, it just leaves you in this emotional state where you care about absolutely nothing. And number 2, stress and anxiety. Hustle culture, if it doesn't give you burnout, well, it can give you all of the benefits, all of the joy that comes along with it, without actually leaving you paralyzed and writhing in a little corner going, I want my mommy. Chasing productivity is a game that you can never win because you will never be good enough. You will never be fast enough. You will look at that schedule and say, well, I'm going to hit that milestone just a little quicker next time. Well, if the goal line is constantly moving away from you, how can you ever win? Number 3, lack of workplace, a personal life balance. Hustle culture is pretty much defined as prioritizing work over, well, everything else in your life. Family, kids, cutting the grass, eating, sleeping. Work has become the complete focus of everything. It is all you can think about, all that you can do. And what happens to everybody else? I'm sorry, honey, I'll be home late. You put the kids to bed and tell them I love them. I'll see them when they graduate college. Now, there is no balance with hustle culture. Yeah, you think that you can go, well, I'll just put them on my schedule and I'll give my kids a good quality 10 minutes of time on Thursday. But nah, you got your things backwards. You've got your entire life backwards, and the only thing that you can think of is getting a deadline finished. And number 4, my personal favorite, complete lack of creativity. You see, the constant pressure to get things done doesn't leave you any time for, well, the creative process. Now, proponents of hustle culture will say the same thing. And in fact, just a few minutes ago, by working your fingers to the bone, that you're going to reach all new levels of creativity. And yet, one of the documented features of hustle culture is diminished amount of creativity in your life. I know a whole bunch of you just went, but I can be creative with my productivity. Well, no, you can't. Did you listen to yourself? Creativity has nothing to do with packing more minutes and seconds into every clock tick. In fact, it's the exact opposite. Creativity doesn't work that way. Creativity is often when you're just sitting around doing absolutely nothing except pondering great ponderous thoughts. Can't innovate and narrow down all at the same time. But it is never too late to change the road you're on. Let me get on my soapbox and tell you how. Without work, humans will not grow, and without play, humans will not grow either. Without creativity, we will simply become slaves, victims to the cult of speed. And work-life balance, that isn't the answer either, because they aren't the same. The goal of life is simply happiness, culture, arts, knowledge, the care and feeding of humanity, leaving this world a better place than, well, the way you found it. Now, it is true that work can give you the finances and the ability to pursue what is important, but work can never impede it. But is the opposite also true? Can you have a healthy, joyful lifestyle and work your butt to the bone? Well, I don't think so, but in the end, it's your choice.